cercando di uscire.
Un altro film.
Aspetta! Eccomi! Eccomi!
Say the name.
Ma vaffa!
Però se non mi fai la mossa che devi fare, si opera.
No!
No! Belli. E quando ci sono stati messi così tanti. Porco! E cosa?
Scoviamo un tesoro.
Yes, passiamo alla sezione.
No.
Sì.
Culo!
Il cappuccetto è rotto. Dio fermatemi.
Che non si muove!
Sei buggato. Però non vieni. Via.
Ovviamente non ho capito un cazzo.
Quello è Cristonio, sarebbe. Antonio Cristonio.
Sto cercando di uscire.
Un altro film.
Aspetta! Eccomi! Eccomi!
Say the name.
Ma vaffa!
Però se non mi fai la mossa che devi fare, si opera.
No!
Belli. E quando ci sono stati messi così tanti. Porco! E cosa?
Scoviamo un tesoro.
Yes, passiamo alla sezione.
No.
Sì.
Culo!
Il cappuccetto è rotto. Dio fermatemi.
Che non si muove!
Sei buggato. Però non vieni. Via.
Ovviamente non ho capito un cazzo.
Quello è Cristonio, sarebbe. Antonio Cristonio.
Sto cercando di uscire.
Un altro film.
Aspetta! Eccomi! Eccomi!
Say the name.
Ma vaffa!
Però se non mi fai la mossa che devi fare, si opera.
No!
Belli. E quando ci sono stati messi così tanti. Porco! E cosa?
Scoviamo un tesoro.
Yes, passiamo alla sezione.
No.
Sì.
Culo!
Il cappuccetto è rotto. Dio fermatemi.
Che non si muove!
Sei buggato. Però non vieni. Via.
Ovviamente non ho capito un cazzo.
Quello è Cristonio, sarebbe. Antonio Cristonio.
Sto cercando di uscire.
Un altro film.
Aspetta! Eccomi! Eccomi!
Say the name. Vaffanculo.
Ma vaffanculo.
Però se non mi fai la mossa che devi fare, si opera.
Boia, no. No.
Belli. E quando ci sono stati messi così tanti. Porco. E cosa?
Scoviamo il tesoro.
Se passiamo alla sezione...
No, 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 no.
Sì.
Culo!
Il cappuccetto è rotto. Dio fermatemi.
Che non si muove!
buggato. Però non vieni. Buonasera signori a tutti. Mi viene da ridere. Mi viene veramente da ridere. Allora, il nostro ospite non c'è in questo preciso momento. Dica, dottor Womp, buonasera. Vuoi venire tu a fare l'intervista al posto di Sciocche Reynolds? Dunque ragazzi, allora, dato che questo è il regno totale del disagio assoluto, assolutante, no ma ragazzi fate pure, tanto qui non so che cosa è successo, ci deve essere stato un imprevisto dell'ultimo momento, non so cosa dire. Sono qui allegramente a narrarvi il disagio più assoluto. Il disagio più assoluto. E ringraziamo Warbumper. Eccoci qua tutti. Arriviamo. Buonasera. Vergogna. Fai schifo. È vero, faccio schifo. Faccio schifo. Sei successo? Sì, praticamente sì. Assolutissimamente. Una caccona termonucleare. Comunque, io ringrazio Veronica, facciamo un SEO subito a Veronica, non abbiamo neanche i suoni perché tra l'altro doveva essere una live di intervista e quindi avevo disattivato praticamente tutto. Sean non mi risponde, è stato con me in chat fino a poco fa, devo dedurre che ci siano stati dei orrendi problemi perché se no non si spiega questa cosa. Facciamo anche uno shout out a Veronica. È tutto molto bello. Il disagio di questa puntata raggiunge dei livelli che forse non avrei neanche potuto immaginare. Non ho idea di cosa sia successo. Salve Zeung, salve Veronica, facciamo tutto un bel giro di SO. Quindi partiamo, Rensicone, buono Shadow, non esagerare, che già so le smadonnamentos per conto mio, ci mancherebbe altro. Allora, vedo che tra l'altro la spostiamo un attimino, un pochettino il logo, se no mi copre ISO. Un pochino sotto. Ecco qua. Dovrebbe funzionare tutto ora. L'abbiamo settato bene. Non sai giocare a uno più di uno. Fai l'intervista doppia fra me e te. Allora, caro UBIBOL, intervisto Shadow. Così almeno la gente non dovrà più. Innanzitutto un SO. Ma lei è uno 0? Sì, decisamente sì. Allora, facciamo un SO a Warbumper. Mandiamo il promo. Intanto, che è importante, vai.
Ciao, questa live partecipa a Stream for AISM, che consente di raccogliere fondi necessari alla ricerca scientifica per le persone con sclerosi multipla. Quindi guardate la diretta e donate per la ricerca a sostegno di AISM. Grazie.
Allora, so de casa pure qua. E certo che è de casa pure qua. Assolutamente sì. Ah, bene. Sì, decisamente Winchester. È tutto molto bello. È tutto molto... Intervista a Shadow. Andate via. Allora, è tutto andato a stramega merda. Io avevo preparato tutto nel migliore dei modi, come potete vedere, ma tutto è andato completamente nel pallone. Allora, chi c'è? La Seung. Buonasera cara. Poi SO, facciamo un SO un po' a tutti. Un po' a tutti tutterrimi. Chi manca? Facciamo un SO a 𝙎𝙃𝙍𝙍, mio adorato, che fa parte di questo canale quanto del caccio sui maccheroni. Fermi tutti.
Hello.
Oh, just a moment. Hello, do you hear me, Sean?
I can hear you. I
Oh.
apologize for being late. There was a misunderstanding, I think, because this is midnight for you, and what day it was for us here on the west coast of the United States got
Okay.
confused.
No, sorry for this misunderstanding. I will put your cam just in live because we are on live. Give me
I'm
1
ready.
second. Ragazzi,
Pardon my
ce l'abbiamo
messy room.
fatto. I just translate because there is Italian people that asking where is our guest.
Yes.
No
Sorry
problem,
about
no
that.
problem at all.
I'm ready.
Yeah, just a moment that we will put you on. Okay, that's cool. I think you are over there. Could you please try the microphone? We just check if your voices are going well. 1, 2,
Yes, can you hear me well? How are we doing?
Perfect, perfect, wonderful. So, Mr. Sean K. Reynolds, we are happy to have you here, and sorry because
Thank you.
as good Italian we are on delay.
Excellent. Well, I am here.
Thank you very much for being here. I'm sorry if I send probably 1,000 million messages over your each possible media that you have in internet, but I was totally without any kind of hope, so I just I was in the totally trouble. Anyway, you are here and I'm happy about it. Thank you very much for being here, Sean. It's starting with I don't know, I can say with great surprise. Anyway,
Thank you for having me.
yeah. Okay. First of all, I would like to thank you, Sean, and all good people to Montecu Games that allow us to have this connection tonight in this Twitch live. So I have already introduced the video from the doctors that are promoting this charity marathon about the multiple sclerosis. This marathon is made by several Italian streamers that make it ride one to each other one in order to support this marathon, and there is a charity fund on Tiltify that will go straight to the Italian Association for the multiple sclerosis research. So thank you very much, Double, to being here. And now we go straight of the person that we have here. So, exclamation point guest, punto esclamativo guest, ragazzi, tutti quanti per sapere chi è questo signore che è un colosso del GDR mondiale dai tempi della TSR. So, Sean, welcome to this interview, to this podcast. We have a lot of people here that would like to listen the story of what we consider a propylium, a colossus, a titan of the tabletop RPG worldwide. So,
You're being very flattering to me. Thank you.
Then I have the first question that in our channel we are usual to do it. Dear Sean,
Okay.
we have a first question for you. Who is Sean K. Reynolds? Please tell us. Feel free to speak anything you want.
Well, I am a designer and developer at Montecu Games, but I have a long history of working in the tabletop RPG community. I have worked on 3rd edition Dungeons & Dragons and the Forgotten Realms and Greyhawk, and I worked on Pathfinder RPG for almost 6 years, and I've done a little bit in video games and other things, but now I'm with the Montecu Games crew, and I've been here for almost 7 years now working on Numenera and the Cypher system.
Okay. And I would like to tell you that the first volume that I purchased in my life of Dungeons and Dragons was Slavers. Was your.
Oh, okay.
So I had here, because I'm a class in 1982, so I had this conserved like a treasure. Okay, so for me is a really great honor to have you here and have a person, as I anticipated by email, that going on the so long timeline of the tabletop RPG's history. So you know it all, in my opinion.
I've been there, yeah, thank you.
I go to the second question that I would like to submit to your attention. Your experience in tabletop RPG is going across ages and companies, as you anticipated. Please tell us your history in this sector, your perception of the time passed.
You know, it's really strange because I was a young man when I started working at TSR as their webmaster and their online community person back in 1995. And I grew up playing role-playing games, and I never expected to be doing this as my job. I was going to be a high school teacher. So 25-year-old me working at TSR and interacting with, you know, legends of gaming from the 80s and 90s like Jeff Grubb and Roger Moore and Skip Williams, that was just amazing. And I got the opportunity to do a little bit of freelance writing, starting with Ravenloft and then working on some other settings. And when Wizards of the Coast bought TSR and moved most of the design and editing team out to Seattle, Washington, I was brought along to be, again, the webmaster for TSR stuff, D&D. And then they announced that they were opening a new game designer position, and they encouraged me to apply for it. And I applied and got it and started working on Greyhawk. And that was, you know, 25 years ago. And now literally I could go to a game convention and there were people who weren't born when I started writing professionally. And they come up to me and say, hey, I grew up playing your games. And that's kind of mind-boggling to me because clearly I'm still just a guy who's, you know, in his late 20s. And how is this adult person grown up playing these games that I wrote? It's just, it's fun. But yeah, I mean, I've had the fortune to work for a lot of different game companies and on a lot of different interesting games and game products, some of them big and some of them small. I feel very, very lucky to have had all these opportunities and now to be working with friends and family at Monty Good Games. Like I've known Monty and Charles and Tammy and some of these people, Bruce, for more than 20 years. I game with them. We have social events together. They're like, these are my friends. And we get to make really fun games as part of this wonderful team. And it's just, it's an amazing, lucky time to be alive.
And this is an incredible story because you are not the first person important in the golden era of the tabletop RPG that arrived to this sector of creation. I would like to say sector of creation and not business, because for me is something, I think also for you, it's something more than business, okay? And you're not the first person that arrived here just a case of life, a detour from the main thinking of what will be your life, okay? So this is incredible because it's something that gave us so many products, so many creation from your side, that thinking that this happened just for a sliding doors, let me tell in this way, it is very incredible and give a sense to what fantasy applied even to the choice of life could be very casual, like a dice could be when you hit, could be 1, could be 20, could be 15.
Yes.
It depends. So you just said some names that are so much important in the tabletop RPG history. Montecook, Skip Wilson, people that build a universe, and you just work with all of them. Okay, it is just passed over here. There is a on the screen now. There is some picture of the product that you made. There was Numenera with Bruce Cordell, you, and Montecook. Just from the people that was involved in the product, you can just stop over there and say, "Oh my gosh!" So this is an incredible moment for me, because I was born in the era when you became heroes of the era of this era. So for me, it's very important. And thank you very much, because there is a donation for the charity fund by our friend Khalid, that was a tabletop RPG strong gamer. So thank you very much. And we will go forward, because I'm very, very curious about what you can tell to us. Your approach to fantasy is unique. This is for sure. And ultra wide. So very, very, very open. Going across Greyhawk, Forgotten Realms, Pathfinder, Numenera, and so on. Tell us something about your process of creation that goes across this incredible variety of fantasy worlds.
Well, I mean, I've been a fantasy fan since I was a young boy, and I try to read a lot of different source materials that are fantasy, and or watch different sorts of fantasy shows, and I kind of am an eclectic collector of information, and I try and find ways to take what I've learned and put that out into, you know, what other people are thinking about fantasy and what I'm doing for fantasy. Earlier this year, my fiance and I bought a house, and there's a lot of things of fixing up the house and repairing the house that you have to think about. And it makes me think about, oh, well, why would somebody build a dungeon and have this feature? Maybe they had to build around something that was a problem. I will run into an interesting story in, you know, even something that's like a cyberpunk novel or a sci-fi, or an informative YouTube video about a particular kind of animal, and say, how can I use that as something interesting in my game? How can I add a bit of realism to my game or to what I'm writing? And even back in the 90s, I was known for the person who would write a dungeon, and there would be like a lot of details about the ecology of that dungeon. Like, oh, here are the creatures that are, you know, making the food, or here's the mushrooms that the creatures are eating. And oh, those things have been overgrazed, and so now these animals have to move somewhere else, and that affects the events that are happening in the dungeon. I just try and find reasons for everything and inspiration for everything in everything that I do. Like, I have a background, I have a degree in chemistry, so I have a very scientific orientation in my reading and my mind. But all those details and learning and understanding chemistry are also things that are good for understanding how to plot out an adventure and make sure that all the steps get covered and that they're explained well for the people who are reading it. It's a very complicated process, and I have a very weird brain, and I just kind of let all those details filter into my head and come out on the paper. And I want to apologize. I know I talk very quickly, and I appreciate that you're translating all of this. I'm sorry that I'm talking too fast for people to keep up with.
No, don't worry. This live will be just only in English, because there's no time to make a translation. I hope that people can follow this, but I will reload again this live, downloading in the other website, the red one. I could not tell the name here on Twitch, but so the people can just listen very carefully what I tell to us. But I renounce to use Italian when I speak with English language guests. Anyway,
your English is so good, and my Italian is so poor. So I'm glad that you were able to talk in English.
So there will be a chance one day to make a mixing live. So you just improve your Italian, and we reply in our English just to improve our community to listen even in English language.
That'd be great.
Anyway, just an interesting things. I have a same scientific background because I'm an electronic engineer. There is something in the scientific background that brings people, probably due to the always studying on big books, to just approach to the fantasy words, or maybe in fantasy, maybe in space opera, maybe in horror thriller games. But there is a lot of people with a scientific background that have a love for fantasy and imagination creation. This is a very funny thing that probably there is a psychological things beside on it, but it's very interesting at the end. Anyway, I read your history, just the history of your evolution in this work just before that we started live, and I see there is a very incredible adventure. The first adventure of Sean is its life in this world, in this in all the company that he was. So I think that could be the most important adventure that you had. Anyway, we go further. In which tabletop RPG do you have your heart? Do you feel more?
Well, I spent a lot of time working on 3rd edition D&D and also Pathfinder, which is based on 3rd edition. But I have to admit, both of those games are very complicated. There's a lot of math involved. And as I've gotten older and played more, I don't want to do all that amount of work for my character or as a dungeon master and building monsters. I need it simpler. I don't need it like very, very breezy and abstract. Like there are games that are just very, very remote from having to do with math and things like that. That's a little too much to me. But Cypher System and Invisible Sun, which are similar sort of systems if you played them.
Yeah.
They kind of have that nice middle ground where it has just enough rules that I can cover the things that I need to cover, but so much flexibility to do just about whatever I want. Like, Cypher System does fantasy and sci-fi and horror and fairy tales and superheroes. Like, I've run all the games like that. We've written books about it. So if you were to ask me, like, if there's only one game that I could run or play or write for the indefinite future, I'd have to say Cypher System, just because it's really easy to do whatever I want.
May I tell you one thing? There was a time in the past where, as a pioneer, you and some of your colleagues tried to separate system from lore of the games in order to create something that was so fluid, flexible, able to be adapted to any possible part of the imagination, no? At the beginning, even Dungeons and Dragons tried this one, because I remember Gamma World. You remember Gamma World? That was the first experiment from a TSR about the cyberpunk or something like that. But you and good people from GURPS and other system tried to create something that was so flexible to be adapted to anything. Even because I think that there was a so big, strong system that was so much big to be not so flexible to any possible lore, from fantasy to space opera to horror to thriller to kid games, for example, no? I think that you did something great with Cypher System. Here in Italy, there is a bigger community that love to use the Cypher System for anything. And I could tell you that Cypher System in the people of tabletop RPGs here in Italy just cover and erase what GURPS did in the past. because it's easier, it's complete, it's able to be set to anything, almost anything, okay? I think that the only competitors that could have is the fifth edition of Dungeons and Dragons that is applied to anything, but I think more for question of mass diffusion, not for the good design of the system. Even because it's a step-by-step process, and Cypher System is something that you create from zero, from scratch. This is my opinion, as a player, as a master, and so on. So I think that you anticipated again another era that is the era of the OSR. So system that based from Dungeons and Dragons old version, the first one and advanced, and they became something more and apply it to game to bring a new generation with old style but a new perspective, a new future. I think that Cypher System anticipated this one in very strong way, and now it is a space in the market of tabletop RPGs system and games, and I think that no one could touch it from that space. This is my opinion as a player, but it is a perception that I have for games like Numenera, okay, or any other games that use a Cypher System.
Yeah, I can see that, and it's funny because there are so many people who play 5th edition D&D, and obviously, like, I played 5th edition, I've written stuff for 5th edition, I worked a little bit on, like, the 𝙎𝙋𝙀𝙼𝙍𝙎 Adventure Guide, and one of the Bolos guides, but people with role-playing games, they get very fixated on, this is the game I play, this is the game that I like, and this is the only game that I want to try. And we actually have companies out there who are putting out other RPGs, and people are like, I don't want to play that because it's not D&D. And most recently, the Adventure Time game, they were going to have a different game system,
right,
but under pressure from the fans, they said, okay, we'll make this like the 5th edition rules. And as a designer and as a person who also grew up, you know, mostly just playing D&D, I get that. I get that I don't want to learn a whole bunch of different things to play this new game. But we try different board games all the time, and we try different video games all the time. So it's just kind of funny that for tabletop, we're less likely to do that. But I think once people try a different RPG, and maybe a third RPG, they go, oh, this game that I'm trying now does this thing really well that this other game doesn't do very well. And so there are reasons to have different RPGs. But it's funny how people just kind of like get their head in a box about what game they want to play.
I totally agree with you. As a master right now, I would like to share one thing with you. We have an association here in my town that we promote tabletop RPGs because, you know, it's a culture that is becoming big in one sense, but very small due for the massive presence of the video games. That is not one bad thing, because I think that all the things in the right quantity, it's okay anytime, because you can just take anything in the right way. But we promote the game just because a new generation probably never be in contact with something that is not Dungeons and Dragons, okay? And we would like to show them a massive, huge of tabletop RPGs games that are little bit disappeared. I saw from your history that was involved, correct me if I'm wrong, you was involved with the first edition of Exalted a tabletop RPG. Am I right?
Sort of. I was working on a video game
Yes.
that was based in the Exalted.
Yeah, exactly. And Exalted is the game that we use sometimes to introduce people to the tabletop RPGs, because we say them, do you want to see the best underdog games that you never been touched? And we show them this manual that is old, maybe ruined, but we introduce them in this world, and they started to say, oh, but this is not Dungeons and Dragons. Yes, be open, be your mind open, because you see something that probably you will never see if we do not show you, okay? So in this sense, what you are telling to me right now is the perfect reply of what we did day by day, okay? With the young generation, with the newest generation. And
Great.
your games are a great reply with all the Monteco games, and believe me, it's a great reply to this question, okay? So I think that we could just say thank you, honestly speaking. And I have
thank you for reaching out and introducing new people to gaming. That's something that I think, the hobby needs that. That's how most people become players, is they are introduced to it by somebody else. It's not common to just pick up a book and start playing. So the fact that you were reaching out and saying, no, I'm going to show you this game, you should try it, I think you'll like it. We need more of that.
Yeah. We triggered the chat with speaking about Numenera, and I have a question from our one person from our chat that said on the cycle of the new sun. I hope to translate correctly, because I don't know if there is some refuse in the traduction, but in the cycle of the new sun of Numenera, what is your impact in the inspiration level?
So do they mean like my impact on the Numenera
game?
On
Numenera game, but he asked for precisely for the cycle of the new sun. Please forgive if probably there is no perfect matching from Italian version to the English version. But in general, for Numenera is okay.
Okay. So in English, we have a book called The Edge of the Sun.
Yeah, The Edge of the Sun, sorry. Edge of the Sun, yes.
Okay. So that was actually all Bruce Cordell. We had the idea that we're going to have an adventure where you get to go to the great machines in space that have kept the sun from turning into a giant and kept the orbits of the planets from moving. And Bruce, who is a great designer, especially for adventures, and we've worked together since the TSR days. He's a good friend of mine. And Bruce also has a science background. He's a biochemist. And so that was just him doing research on what they call stellar engines and, the mechanics of moving stars and what sort of civilization you need to have that sort of power. And that was a really fantastic and fun source book and adventure. I'm not sure that answers the question, though.
Yeah. I think that you completely reply, and we invite Bruce Cordell to speak about this matter over here. So if you have a chance to tell him to come over here, we can reply to this one directly. Anyway, your actual adventure in Monteco Games, please tell us something more.
Well, like I already said,
right.
I've known a lot of these people for 20 odd years. And so my first involvement in what was Monteco Games was when Monty and Shauna kickstarted the original Numenera book. And it was a wild success. They said, okay, well, we're going to make this big RPG. And Monty knows that I have a really good brain for analyzing game mechanics. That's what makes me a good developer. And he asked me to develop the Numenera rulebook. And so I was looking at stuff like how types work and how foci work and how your various roles and stuff works. And so it's kind of nice that this company that I'm part of now, before it was even a company, I was involved in the stuff that they were making. But I was working on Pathfinder, and then I left to do my own thing, and then I came back to Seattle, Washington, and got a contract job working for Wizards of the Coast, working on Forgotten Realms lore, and that was only going to be a year. And so I was looking for other work as that year was ending, and Monty reached out to me and said, hey, we're going to be having a new job position opening up at Monteco Games to run our social media, our Facebook, our Twitter, all that sort of stuff. We think you'd be really good for that. Would you be interested? I said, sounds great. And I applied, and I went to the interview, and I got to interview with people who are my friends. So it's kind of funny because they're asking me all these official work questions, so I have to be very serious and not make silly jokes and voices and things like that. And my contract at Wizards ended, and an hour and a half later, I was back at my apartment, and they had sent me an email saying, we want to give you the job. And so I took the job, and I was a social media person for a year and a half. And then, actually, speaking of Numenera, like we had planned to do the revision of Numenera for Discovery and Destiny, and we were going to need a lot more design work for that. And they're already in the process of like looking to change some other people's work. And so they said, Sean, we would like you to stop being the social media person and just become a designer and developer for Numenera, the thing that started it all for Monty Cook Games. And since then, I have worked on the revision of Numenera and the revision of the Cypher System book, and written a whole bunch of Cypher System stuff and Numenera stuff. And you know, the team of MCG has grown by about 6 or 7 people since then. We've doubled in size, so it's wild that we're part of this little company that has a really big heart and we really care about making beautiful books, fun games that we like to play. And I think the passion that we have for our games, the things that we write, shows up in the books that we make. If I can tell you a story about Pathfinder, the Paizo fans, they were always asking us, when are you going to do a book on psionics, on mental powers? Like, you know, it's really big in D&D. We want to have something like that for Pathfinder. But there was nobody on the Pathfinder team who was really excited about doing psionics. And so we decided, look, we're not going to do one because we don't want to, I don't know if there's an equivalent phrase in Italian, but in English, you'd say half-ass it. Like you don't do a very good job because your heart isn't in it. We didn't want to half-ass a psionics book. We want a whole-ass a psionics book, right? And so we chose not to do that because we didn't have the passion for it. But at MCG, like everything we put out is somebody's passion project, whether that's Numenera, Invisible Sun, or a supplement for Cypher System, or a fun little game for kids. Like someone is like, this is going to be a great game, and I'm loving the fact that I get to work on this. And everything that we do is that. And so that is just the most wonderful thing about working at this company with all my friends, that we get to pick the things that we're going to make because we're excited about them. And you can feel that excitement when you read it.
Absolutely. I would like to tell you that I avoid at the beginning, and you confirm that I did it good, to avoid the word business into the things that you did. Because what you did and why you are here, and I'm happy that you are here, that before being a business, because okay, it's a work at the end, but before being a work, it's a passion. It's a dreaming of life to make people dream, to make people use their imagination, especially in this period of the history of the world where everything appear and look like more cynic that it could be. Okay, so at the end, what the companies of that create tabletop RPGs do something more that probably they believe, that probably they have a perception. Okay, and I can tell you that there was a man older than you over here almost 1 year ago, Mr. Mark Miller, the author of my Traveler, the game that I love all of my life, with all myself, with each cell of myself, that told me, we are not just a bookseller, we are not just a person that work for company, we have a responsibility of create a dream for people. When I was there, it's the first time that I feel myself a drop of from my eyes in front of a camera. This is the first time in my life. So what you confirm right now maybe make me the second drop in front of the camera, because what you did on Monty Cook Games, it's something that goes over the market question in this sector. It's go on passion, on dreaming something that you personally bring in each page of your manuals, because each page, from one single drawing, one single writing, I think even sometimes in Numenera, in positioning the text into the image, in each single page have a sense. It's a question of personal approach to this way of creating. Okay, this is my perception from a user, okay? And this is good to see that the position for you as a creator is similar. It's going in the same rail, okay? So this is very important for me. Moreover, I could tell you that there is two things that I would like to share with you. First of all, it's incredible that where there is a revolution in the eras of a tabletop RPGs, from D&D to Pathfinder to every other games that comes day by day expansion, when there is a very big revolution, you was there. You was there. So when there is something that change, break the barriers, break everything, you was there with an expansion, with a manual, with your support, with co-working with someone else. I read in my life Sean K. Reynolds in manuals that have a sense, so much sense that even an expansion became something, an entire game, okay? Because I have expansion of D&D that you make it, that I prefer to the original manual. I have to honestly tell you, this is the truth. So I think that your presence in the key moment is important. So I can tell you that your second name, Key, is the rightest name that you could have, because you are a key person in the history of a tabletop RPG.
Thank you. I appreciate it. That's very, very kind. I am lucky to have kind of crashed my way through the RPG world and had all these fun games and cool people that I've been able to work with. And maybe it's luck, maybe it's fate, maybe it's just because I work really hard at what I'm doing.
Because at the end, we are your heritage. Because what you live in this world, the world of tabletop RPGs, is, I think, is not manual. It's just a million of users that read it. This is my point. Because at the end, it's a people. It's a people that read the books, not only the books.
Absolutely. And, you know, the nature of the games that we play, it's not just sitting around and rolling dice. It's the stories that we tell and the laughter that we feel and the fear that we feel when, you know, we're thinking our character is at risk. And we tell stories. Like, I've been involved in games where, like, I've become so emotional at what's happening that I've cried. And I've run games where I have gotten so into character that, like, I have, like, had tears fall from my eyes, and my players are like, wow, he is actually crying with the intensity of what this character is feeling. And that's human emotion right there. And all of us playing are touching on some part of that. And I think if you treat the environment as just a job, you're not doing a good job. Like, you have to feel that passion in your heart when you write it, so that when people play the game, it'll be there at the table.
Fully, completely agree with what you are telling us, because we have passed, there is something that is lost in time, because, you know, the tabletop RPGs in the past, meaning that there is a people that have a meeting for playing that maybe go for years and years. No campaign that goes for years and years, because there is a so slower life, there is another lifestyle. But at the end, this is the true, because the tabletop RPG is a mirror of what happened into the society. So if the society push on the gas, the game's going to too much faster, no? But you lost old fashion to be in a campaign for several years in the houses of the friends and something like that, no? But I think that the emotion will be the same, because it's a different approach, but the emotion will be the same. We have to testify from the past, from the eras of a campaign during for years and years and years or months, till today, that we have a so speed game that lasts just a couple of sessions and something like that. But at the end, the feels, the approach, the feeling, what you tell, that you have that you can cry, you can smile, you can be with your friend dreaming about incredible words or very funny, silly stories, it's the same. It's the same because it's a mind approach, no? And I think that, but it's something that I would like to share with you. Actual impact, new impact of the tabletop RPG in the society, especially in the young generation, it's because there is no so much attitude of dreaming in future, in being happy, in about something that you can just face with courage, no, in future. And so the tabletop RPG is a way to decompress this, no? It's a way to use your mind in a way that maybe in the life or in the all the days appear not possible. This is my idea. Maybe it's something that you could say, no, you are wrong, or something like that.
No, I agree. It's an outlet for feelings that people aren't able to express in their real life. I had a conversation with Monty about how superhero movies are so popular right now because a lot of people are frustrated with society. They see that there's injustice and inequality and poverty and environmental damage, and we individually feel that we can't do a whole lot about that. But we could watch a superhero movie and you see Iron Man, destroying terrorists or, stopping someone who's going to, destroy the world. And so superheroes are a fantasy that you can punch a problem with the world until it's not a problem anymore. And it's because you've got an entire generation of people who are growing up kind of powerless. And so they need some sort of entertainment hobby that lets them feel that, no, I can make a difference. And whether that's watching superhero movies or cosplaying as your favorite character or playing tabletop RPGs where your characters can save the world or your characters can meet up and, have a fancy party. Like even a one-shot D&D type adventure where you're literally celebrating Bilbo Baggins's 111th birthday. Like, that is a fun thing. It's like, who lives to 111 years old? Let's do a game about that. We can cheer on this person that literally has been in our village since I was a baby. Everybody knows Bilbo. We all love him. He's an eccentric, weird sort of person, but let's get together and celebrate him. This is all just different aspects of playing out scenarios that don't really happen in real life. We would like to see more of that. We want to see more of the fantastic. We want to see more of the fun. We want to see more of the community coming together to support people.
I fully agree with you. And there is an Italian author very popular in the tabletop RPG world, that is Francesco Nepitello, that wrote the One Ring, one of the most popular game into the Lord of Ring lore, and says we are here to let people play when they read the first page of Lord of the Ring, and never heard nothing about hobbits, Mordor, Sauron, and something like that. We are here for that. So this is a very it's a sort of a mission. From your side, it's the mission to create something that is approachable to anyone, to bring the culture of the tabletop RPGs according to the eras further to the future, oriented to the future, because it's an art in continuous evolution. Okay, there's no old or new. It's something that goes fluid, as I told you. But from our side is come on, guys, come here and I tell you a story. Take your dice, take your pencil, take your paper, and we will go to have a great dream. And I have a message in our chat that was very interesting from 𝙎𝙋𝙀𝘼𝙆𝙀𝙍 Gaming, that is my great friend and great master and great tabletop player, said, mankind has always felt the need to make and share stories. RPG are precisely that. What happened in a session stay with us if the game is good and the people we play with resonate with us. I think that it's a very good way to intend this game. May I tell you another thing? Could I say that you was the first social media manager in the history of a tabletop RPGs of what you did in TSR? Because I imagine you, let me tell you if I'm wrong or not. I imagine you convincing 𝙎𝙀𝙍𝙎𝙎, and people from the TSR that website is not way to stealing manuals, no? But it's a resource. It's something that could mesh the idea of video games and tabletop RPGs, bringing everything to a step forward. That today probably D&D Beyond have to tell you thank you, Mr. Reynolds, for being for what you did in the past. But I imagine you in TSR convincing 𝙎𝙀𝙍 and the other people that website, internet is not the most evil enemy of the manual. Am I right?
Well, when I started at TSR, 𝙎𝙀𝙍 and Arneson were no longer there.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
It was owned by Lorraine Williams.
Yeah,
but it was me talking to the TSR lawyer, along with Jim Butler, who's now president of Paizo.
Yeah.
But Jim and I would meet with a lawyer and say, look, there's a difference between someone saying, this is an adventure I wrote for my home campaign, versus this is a copy of the player's handbook in PDF that somebody scanned and is giving away for free. Like, this is their material. They wrote that, they own it. This is TSR's material, and yes, that is a stolen PDF. Like, we can be firm about how we don't want people to copy our PDFs and give them away, but we should be very, very lenient about people wanting to share their own material, because these are the fans. These are the people who play the games. These are the people who buy the books. We want them to be excited. We want them to be so excited that they will share to play the games that we make. Like the hobby at the time was narrowing down. We had people who, stopped playing because they got married and started a family. They didn't have time for gaming, or their gaming group split up and they didn't really have Skype or Zoom to play online. And so people just didn't have the opportunity to play. Like, I literally knew people who would come to a big game convention like Gen Con every year because it was the only the gaming group would get together and would be able to play the old campaign. Just at Gen Con. And so explaining to the lawyer, who was a very nice lady, and getting her to push back against the owner of TS about why this horrible policy line stuff was, it took a lot of work.
Yeah.
It took Jim and I basically 2 years. It worked. I mean, here we are. Now we've got things like D&D Beyond,
Yeah.
D&D movie, and so there's things that are playing D&D and other RPGs, and that's legal. People to do that. We want people to show up. Like, there's an entire subculture. Actually play video games, but they love watching. They don't actually play RPGs, but they love watching people play tabletop RPGs because maybe they don't have time, or maybe they don't have a group. They can watch that.
Mm-hmm.
Run a game with Critical Role
Mm-hmm.
and gaming experience, and we would not be there dragged, kicking and screaming, accepting that the online world is a real thing and we should embrace it. Now, that happened before Amazon was a thing.
Yeah.
I remember one of our statements by coming to me saying, hey, this Amazon website, I don't know what they want us to do. But it's like, well, they want to sell it everywhere.
Yeah.
So it was, the world has changed so much in those 30 years, and sometimes it's hard to get a publishing company or any sort of company to
Yeah.
got Monty as the leading edge. Monty left Wizards of the Coast, started making compatible PDFs. PDF, how about $5? People said, $5 for PDF. And now it does PDF, and we use pricing as the starting point. So that changed.
Okay, just a moment that they told me from the chat that there is a little bit jumping into the... Ok, I try to reset. Ragazzi dalla chat, se mi dite per favore se si sente ancora bene, ho provato a resettare la fonte. Sorry, I just reset your source because there is a little bit problem into the voice. Anyway, I just fully agree of what you tell me, and I have to say thank you again, because the incredible era that I lived in a time when there was a big forum with full of text of adventure written by people. You remember incredible quantity of adventure, even with no sense. But it was possible just because someone like you and especially, just opened the door. Because when the door was closed, we were spreaded and we just write everything on the paper, and probably we lost into the garage of our aunt, of our grandma. And this was lost, maybe pages and pages of people that could become a designer, could become a future creator of tabletop RPGs. So you give another powerful source to this industry at the end, but probably they ignore. But as an innovator, probably the people don't look what you are thinking about the games. So what you did in the past is more important again, as probably the people saw at the time, even the Mrs. Lawyer that you told some moments ago. So that's the interesting point. But we go over with another question. I think that we just probably replied, but we use this question just to give another step forward. Okay, the question number 6, the frontier between the real and digital, we just replied right now, so we can go a little bit over. Actually, worldwide situation in tabletop RPG development, OSR, classic system, masterless, and so on. What do you think about where we are going? There is a direction, there is a plus direction, there is someone that stays back.
You know, that's a really hard question, because there are so many kinds of people doing tabletop games, so many tabletop games out there, and like my experience in like a bit of edition and playing on the cyber system is going to be very different from the person who says, you know what, let's do a third, or I like the other. Their needs and the problems that they're encountering in technology and being handled different ways. Is that like I can't really predict what to do? Kind of let my come for the like a lot of people use software like Roll20 and other virtual tabletop software to run their games online. A lot of people don't do that. They've gotten away from using miniatures on the table. They need to do that anymore. I used to paint miniatures all the time because I love it. But there's a tool now that I can't see with my glasses the details. Like some people love the miniature tabletop, and like not online. They need to have those miniatures so they can see where the position is. There are a lot of games that don't need that answering at all because they don't have that precision. I need to know that I'm 10 feet away, 15 feet away. So,
sorry, Sean, sorry, just a moment. That people told me that there is a jumping on the line. Let me just make another.
I'm also going to close some tabs at the back just in case.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Just update your source. Okay, we try it again.
Here I am.
Yeah.
I was rambling a bit, the short version is that there are so many different groups and games out there with different needs. It's really hard to predict what the general trend is going to be, but I know that Monty Games is working hard on providing play experience for all the people who play our games. And sometimes we'll invent something totally new, like Darkest House, which was originally an app meant to be played online because people were in quarantine and weren't able to meet up in person because of COVID-19. And now we're looking at other ways that we use that app to perhaps build other adventures, even if you're on your tablet or whatever, pass them to your players.
Okay, just a moment that are telling us that now is jumping and the people is not able to listen you very well. I kindly ask you one thing, if it's possible. Could you please close the browser and join the link again from zero, from scratch? I wait you here.
Okay.
Yeah. Ok ragazzi, ci proviamo di nuovo, lo facciamo uscire e rientrare. Purtroppo VDO stasera ha voglia di fare un po' di scherzetti. Vediamo un po' se riusciamo a riaverlo con noi. Il bello della diretta è anche questo. Comunque nel frattempo mandiamo il filmato che ci sta sempre bene. Ah, no. Ok, you are back. I try to add to the search, just a moment. Do you hear me?
I hear you.
Perfect. Ok. We try again to connect. I hope that cross finger that everything works well right now. No, non è Discord, uso VDO Ninja io, Yuza. I hope that everything going well. So we are telling about the new frontier, and can we say again what we told some moment before? Is it possible? I kindly ask you to reply because people do not listen very well. If it's possible.
Yes. The short version is that I can only have a sense of sort of games that I play and what we need, and people will invent software and hardware to make that possible. But other groups playing different games and with different ideas, they're going to have their needs, and they might use a virtual tabletop Roll20. Monty Games is not a technology company, but you have some people who are like our art director Whiter, his wife is a software developer, and so when the pandemic happened and we weren't able to meet in person, Monty said, well, how about we make a game supplement that isn't a book, it's just an app that is meant that you play it online, it's meant to be able to send text messages, layers, audio, and we made that. And that's like a weird bit of innovation we did. And I think that we're going to keep looking at how we make our games more interesting and make use of technology that's available to us. We are looking at taking the Darkest House app and using it to make other things like an adventure, and maybe as a bunch of art files, sound files, and you can just they'll be available for you just to click on. So you have to go and get a bunch of separate files. So we're always looking to do cool, innovative things. I'm now the person to really have a good idea of speculating about that. Like I would read a weird science fiction, weird science news, and so I see the potential for a lot of things, but I don't know, like, is that tomorrow's technology or next year's technology? So it's hard for me to say.
Ah, okay. I see. I fully agree with you. I understand that this relation with the with the new technology are quite interesting. And moreover, I could tell you, okay, the people said that they don't hear a reply. I'm a little bit now, I do not understand what is happening. Give me just 1 second that I try to understand what is not going on.
I'm going to switch to an entirely different browser just in case.
Yeah, probably just just last trying. You can just open the link in another browser.
I'm going to close out.
Yeah, close and just reopen. Il bello della diretta, ragazzi, tanto è così. Che ci vogliamo fare? Non ci possiamo fare un tubarzo. Comunque diceva, cosa interessante, è che per lui la frontiera è appunto chiudi tutto il chiudibile, è chiuso tutto quanto, tutto ciò che posso chiudere, chiudo qualunque cosa.
I think the problem was that I had my mic muted. I'm not used to this interface, so the little green light on the microphone means mute.
Ah, okay. I don't really know, because people do not understand. There is a lot of noise probably, but I try to add again to the source. We just take another tries, but it's the good of going streaming.
Yes.
We try again. Okay, we are online again. I hope that now everything is more audible.
Buongiorno!
Buongiorno! No, si tratta proprio... just a moment, si tratta proprio singhiozzi. Strana sta cosa. Just a moment that I set a little bit better. Do not understand how what I can do to fix this. Just a moment. I don't know. Ragazzi, va meglio adesso? Sorry if I ask in Italian, just a moment. Va meglio adesso? No? Avete qua, mi date qualche feedback? Cosa più strana è che tu lo senti e noi no, quindi il segnale a te arriva pulito ma lo rimandi corrotto. Ok, just a moment, I try to stop down the live and I restart again, ok?
Okay.
Just a moment, 1 second.